Hello and welcome to your full moon in Libra cacao ceremony and ritual. And there's going to be a couple of deep breaths taken today, taken over this weekend, and it's just this week in general. So the full moon is right in between the eclipse season, spring equinox portal. So there's this huge, impactful, intense energy that is all around and within us. And a message that I keep receiving over these last few days and even the last week or two is to expand through the extremes. So, we don't tend to make changes or to alter our life unless we're kind of pushed or gently nudged. And what can happen is, one part of our life can really intensify in order for us to make that shift or to alter the way in which we do things. So I don't know about you, but I've been feeling those extremities all week in all aspects of my life, especially shining the light, and that's what the full moon does, on areas that are just not working anymore. And we are creatures of habit. We love familiarity. So it can be challenging for us to change. None of us like change, let's be honest. But there's always a better way of doing things. And as we evolve, and so many of us here in this community are evolving, are transforming, are in that chrysalis stage from the caterpillar to the butterfly. So, we can feel squeezed, we can feel pushed, we can feel backed into a corner. And it's only then that we realize how strong we are. It's only then we realize the options that we have, or how we build resilience with our emotions and with situations and with people, rather than going into old habits of sabotage and limiting beliefs and just being comfortable in the known rather than jumping off the metaphorical cliff. So if you've been working with me, you're one of my clients, or one of my students, that I'm always there to give you that gentle little push or nudge in the right direction. And how challenging and frustrating it can be, but how worth it it is. So, if this is landing with you today and you're hearing this, maybe you have to give yourself that push or that nudge into that place of the unknown, because on the other side of that discomfort could be your biggest breakthrough yet. It could be, it mightn't be as big as you even think it's going to be. Maybe it's your fear that's holding you back. But if it is, ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? What is my biggest fear? Let me face that for a moment and really stand up to it. Because this Libra full moon is all about balance. So balance in our yin and our yang, our feminine and our masculine, our dark and our light. Because if we're just existing in one all of the time, we're not nurturing the other. And we tend to have these perfectionism qualities or expectations, and that can leave us sorely disappointed. Like, how much have you pushed yourself to achieve a certain thing, and the happiness that you thought you'd receive from that achievement didn't come, because you may have forced yourself or pushed yourself to that place and not enjoyed the journey, not enjoyed the moment, not allowing yourself to fully relish in it. You're just looking at the end result rather than the little pauses or the little nuances in between. So that's what I would ask you to do now over these next few days until the full moon peaks on Monday and a couple of days after, is to look for the nuances, look for the sparkles, look for the sacredness in between, the extremes. Because again, I always share personally, like, this week has been very challenging for me. A lot has come up, a lot of emotions, a lot of suppressed memories. Like, I'm like, oh, where is this all coming out of? But again, when we're in that transformational stage, our phase, we're being squeezed. So when our energy is being squeezed, we're having this cleansing, like a wringing out of the cloth, and anything that is underlying there, anything that has been suppressed will come to the surface. So I'm like, oh, you know, I don't want to look at this, I don't want to deal with this, I don't want to feel this. But it's like, well, if you don't feel it and deal with it now, you're going to have to do it at another stage. So you're carrying around all of this miscellaneous energy that's just taking up space. And you're probably asking yourself, you know, why aren't I where I want to be? Or, you know, I'm putting in all of this work and not seeing the fruition. It's because there's this energy of this miscellaneous boxes that are taking up space, that is, you know, blurring your bliss and your manifestations, because you haven't dealt with all of this over here. So, you know, the energy of spring is all about clearing out, cleansing, purifying, rebirth. So you can't rebirth until you have some sort of a death. And what I mean by that is a letting go, and letting go of an old pattern, an old belief, all aspects of yourself, relationships, ways of doing things, and just create that space. Because we're very quick, and you know, I put my hands up and being this as well, is that we're very quick to fill the space that we've created. So for example, have you ever cleared out your wardrobe and your presses and you're like, oh, look at all this space. We're like, oh, now I have to go out and buy something because it looks very empty. So we get uncomfortable in that emptiness, in that spaciousness. But that's where you leave room for inspiration to flow in, or maybe for just those parts of you that didn't get a chance to grow, to finally expand. So sit with that and see how it feels. You know, where does your life feel very full, very busy, very chaotic, full of miscellaneous stuff? Where can you clear that out and not automatically try and fill it? Be okay and get comfortable and get familiar with that unknown spaciousness, and see how you can expand. See what potential that is already within you can grow, rather than looking for something outside of it to fill. So you might be looking to do a course, or you might be looking to, you know, do something else to, you know, put your energy outside of yourself. It's like, how about using the energy that you have to grow and expand something that already is within you, rather than distracting yourself with external stimuli, basically. So full moons, yes, they can be so intense. And this is why, you know, coming to ritual and ceremony, to embrace, to help this energy shift, to, you know, take what you need from this energy, and let it support you. Because remember, everything is happening for you, not to you. And you know, it can feel like, oh, everything is happening, everything is going against people, but no, that's never the case. After the rain, there's always a rainbow, and there's always a silver lining. There's always an opportunity for growth and realization, expansion, resilience. So, you know, just step back. That's what I ask you, just to step back from the emotion, step back from the situation, step back from the heat, take a breath and just look at what's happening and say, okay, I can control this, but I can't control that. And begin to rationalize, you know, what is in your control and what is not in your control. Because I've been getting so many messages lately. It's like, oh, I'm exhausted, and you know, I'm tired of this, and I'm really emotional. And I was like, yeah, things are beginning to be stirred. So when you have, you know, those tools in your wellness toolbox to support you, like the breath, like yoga, like meditation, like journaling, these tools are not just used for like when you're in a happy place. They're to be pulled out when you're feeling that overwhelm or that huge shift or change, or when you're just about to have that breakthrough. Sometimes it can feel like you're going to have a breakdown, but sometimes things have to crumble in order for you to rebuild or rebirth in a way that's much more in alignment with you. So, you know, sometimes when we're being pushed to the extremes, it's helping us to push through the surface, or to break that glass ceiling. So then we can go, open like the lotus towards the sun. So like I said, Libra is balance. So if you look at Libra, it's represented by the scales. It's also a fire sign. So great time for transformation. We're in this portal, like I said, of the equinox, the lunar eclipse, and the full moon. We've also just started the new astrological year. So, lots of people tend to run and race and try and make decisions on how they want their year to unfold in January, but we're still in hibernation at that time. And the astrological new year has just begun. So now is the time to create your vision board. Now is the time to start, writing down your goals and aspirations and what you want to unfold over the next 12 months, because the energy is much more supported for that. There's much more clarity. The days are getting longer now and brighter. So it's really time for you to step into that. And take some time, create some space. Perhaps even through today's ceremony, you will get more clarity or insight. But we do need to spring clean. Now we're also coming to the shadow phase, the pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde. So it's very, very important to clear up, clean up, organize, get yourself already in motion, already with that structure of what you need to support yourself before Mercury retrograde starts in the first week of April. So yeah, it is intense, but like this intense period, this intense time come every year, about 3 times a year. So it's really important to just be aware. Like knowledge is power, because when we're not aware, that's when the wool can be pulled from underneath us. And, we can be coasting along fine and then we're hit with this energy. So when we are aware of it, because like I said, it comes around every year, we can prepare ourselves. So preparation is key. Also with this full moon, it's asking you to look at the whole spectrum of your life. So if you ever look at the pie chart of life, it's about finances, relationships, social aspects, spirituality, mental health, physical health, and education. So it's about looking at that and say, okay, right, this part of my life is going really well. Maybe I can take some energy now and, look at my finances, or look at my socializing, or, where is it really full and where is it depleted? So I can share a link for that for you if you would like it. So just send me a message and I'll send you a PDF of what that would look like. But it's always really important to review and reflect on our life. And that's what Mercury retrograde helps us do. It helps us to stop for a moment, rewind, review, reverse, and rearrange. Because again, if we keep doing the same things, we keep getting the same results. So I'm going to pull some Moonology cards. Let's get some insight into the next 2 weeks. So also, and I will leave the links below, if you go back to our previous ceremony 2 weeks ago for the new moon and just see what has unfolded for you since then, because the new moon is the initiation, the starting point that leads up to the full moon, the culmination. So whatever seeds that you planted, whatever intentions you had for the new moon, how have they grown over these last 2 weeks? Because so much can happen in 2 weeks, like so much can unfold. Okay. So just put your energy, your focus, your attention and intention into the cards. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And I love these cards because they're directly linked to the moon, obviously, because they're Moonology. But they just give such simple and powerful messages and insights. Yes. Okay. And even talking about this has really lifted a lot of energy and created a lot of lightness in my system. So let me know if this forecast has helped you in any way. Okay, so the first one is adjustments are required, third quarter moon. So remember what I was saying in the beginning about reviewing, reevaluating, rearranging. So now that we are in spring, we're in a new season, it's time to change things up. So it could be your style, it could be the way in which you work, it could be, you know, creating more time for fun rather than, you know, constantly working. It could be something to do with your diet. It could be something to do with your physical or mental health, but adjustments are required. So this was so highlighted for me this week. I was like, oh, things need to change. And I was like, oh, getting really tense. And it's like, no, that's okay. Like it is the time for change. So start to slowly do that. So what can you do every day? Or what can you do in this moment now to create that change? And that could be just making a plan or making a timeline for the future. What I was saying about the jumping off the metaphorical cliff or getting out of your comfort zone. So step out of your comfort zone, North Node. Wow. So look, the sky is the limit here. Break the glass ceiling. Break old habits and beliefs. And you know, speaking of breaking, if you've broken any glass or if things have shattered this week, that's a really, really good sign. It means that you are shattering the illusion, you are breaking the old habits. And when you break something, you know, you throw it away. So it's like getting rid of the old so you can invite in something new. And this card came up as well in the last moon, if I remember correctly, a time to give rather than take, new moon in Virgo. So remember what I was saying about going back now and listening to the energy forecast, going back over your notes from the last new moon. And Virgo is an earth sign. So how can you give back to Mother Earth? How can you give back to yourself rather than constantly taking? Again, where are you excessive in your life? And where can you give more time and energy to something else? And what we've all been waiting for, and the answers you need are coming. Full moon in Gemini. So, you know, this is what I was saying about getting into that energy, that vibration of planning, manifesting. You're looking at your vision board, looking at the year ahead. Now is the time to step into that energy. And the answers will come, they always do. But sometimes we don't get them because we're just supposed to sit where we are, sit in the present moment, and everything will be revealed. So yeah, wow, really, really incredible cards, and I'll post them as well in the community so that you can see. I also wanted to do a cleanse before we start our ceremony. Okay. So today's ceremony and ritual, so I have my trusty cacao. So have your sacred elixir. So if you want to pause the video and get a glass of water, a cup of tea, cacao, you can do that. But we're going to do a cacao Reiki infused meditation, because I really feel, you know, that many of our chakras are out of alignment because they have been pulled in all directions, you know, because the energy's been so intense. So we are going to receive these new earth codes because the earth is shifting, the seasons are shifting. So there's new energy to be, to connect with and to be absorbed. So let's bring that into our system, into our energy, so that we can reconnect again, so that we can get back online with our highest timeline, with the earth, with the heavens, and just see what unfolds, what unlocks within us, what comes to fruition. But before we do that, I want to do a sage cleanse.